time. Yeah, she could make some money off of it. But here's the deal. He's gonna come right back at you. He's gonna entice you to make that bet, right? You put up 20, he got 50. Yep. Good. You win a few times on a 20. Then you quit. But it's not easy to quit like that, right? Yeah. Because they got the buddy hooked up right there, right? Yeah. You get his money, they'll follow you later on. So you never should have played that game. And he pickpocket later on. Because you got his money. Here's another thing, too. You continue playing on, you think you good. You done won 3 times, yeah. Now it goes up even to even, right? Yeah, you put up 50, I put up 50. You say, oh, I got it 3 times. He get you, right? Get you $50, you can get your money back. You play a couple more times, now you lost $150. You know you won 60, but you didn't. You got the 150 out of here. They let you win the $60 by mistake. For you was a mistake for playing that game. Some guys walk up to you, but they say, I can tell you where you got those shoes, right? You got that one here? Yeah, where you got those shoes? You say, I live in a different state, different country. You don't know where I got these shoes from. Yes, you do. They're right on your foot. Right on your feet there. That's where you got them. So when you run into those situations, just say, hello, good evening, how you doing, buddy? Yes, indeed, I live around the corner. I know about that. Yeah. Even though you don't live around the corner, but you do. So don't walk yourself into that. You go straight ahead in front of us, right? You want to gamble? That's a gambling shop right there. Yeah. You get lucky. Maybe so, maybe not. Parish Casino. But you got to know one thing about those guys. They only accept donations. So you're losing all the way around, huh? So stay away from it. That's a little tip while you guys here, right? Some of you guys go sweating while you're getting on the bus. Here's the thing, too. It gets so hot around here, you just can't take it. So in the middle of the day, drink your cold beer, drink some water, right? Yeah, stay away from the liquor. Yeah, you mess around and have a heat stroke around here. Doesn't matter if you're from Texas, Arizona, California. Different heat here, folks. Thank you guys for coming down today. Where the heat? Yeah, it's on now. It's been going on since the month of March. If you felt the breeze today, that was a mistake. That don't really happen around here this time of year. That is true. Sometimes you feel a breeze around here. It's a warm breeze. It's hot. You know what that means? That's something hanging out in the Gulf of Mexico. Could be near us, right? Might not make landfall, but it's on the Gulf. Straight ahead in front of us is the casino, the Harris Casino. Did anybody get a chance to visit that place yet since you've been here? Anybody? Nope, some did. All right. And if you decide to go in, you got to know one thing. Well, they only accept donations, okay? Yep, only the casino we have in the city. Now, if you don't gamble, just go in anyway. Take a look. Check it out. It's one of the largest casinos down here in the southern part of the country. 27 years ago, it was once the convention center. The new convention center is down here to the right, about 8 blocks and 2 to the left, right? Canal Street, we'll be crossing in just a little bit. You guys get familiar with Canal Street yet? Anybody? Well, Canal Street, like a divider, separate the city, right? So here, straight ahead in front of us at the traffic light is Canal Street. Back in 1803, the Americans, they decided to come to this part of the country. So the Americans settled here on this side of Canal Street. See, in front of us on the other side of Canal Street, in the French quarters, where the French and the Spanish group settled during the 1700s. So right in front of us, right down the center, to the left and to the right, separating the American sector from the French and Spanish in front of us. Down the center, you guys might call this a median. Never hear that in the city. We call something like that a neutral ground. Neutral ground. French, Spanish, and America was not friends. Only time they would ever meet is at a neutral point. In a neutral ground to swap, trade, and sell goods to one another. These neutral grounds separate and divide plenty of different communities in the city. We'll go through a handful of here today. Canal Place to the right, we're shopping for your upscale shopping. Saks Fifth Avenue, Tiffany's, and Brooks Brothers, a handful of other department stores. To the left there. Now that building came along back in 1881. When it first opened up, it was a jailhouse. It used to house Confederate prisoners, right? So later on, in the mid-part of 1900, it became the U.S. Custom House building, where you registered to vote, get your passport to go out of town or register for the giraffe. That's what took place in that building. But 10 years ago, they decided to turn it into the insectarian building. Like we don't have enough bugs running around in the city, huh? Termites and mosquitoes should be our state bird, but it's the brown pelican. 1 block behind us, 12 straight ahead, a block and a half to the right, maybe about 5.5 blocks to the left. This was once the whole entire city of New Orleans during the 1700s, where we are right now, the French and the Spanish group, right? But we had a big fire to take place around here back in 1788. Almost the whole entire city of New Orleans burned down. See, what the many buildings that you see around here right now, most of them was made of wood, like cedar wood and cypress wood. So if we ever had a fire around here on a windy day, it would spray from one building to the next one, on and on, on and on. Then later, another fire took place, 1794. Half the city of New Orleans burnt down once again. After those 2 great fires, but we decided to take and do something different. So they say, well, let's take and turn it into mortar and brick. So that's what you see around here now, just in case we have another fire again. That fire might not spread the way it used to. And if you look closely when you walk in here in the French Quarter, these buildings are tilting, leaning just a little bit. Some of them, like the green looking one to the left there at the end of the block, you can see it tilting, leaning there. Most part of the city here was built on top of wetland and swamp. So we living on shaky ground, kind of crazy, but we are. Now the French was the first group to come around here. Everything that was built in the city, right near the Mississippi River, is to the right of us, right over there to the right behind the flood wall, maybe about 1,000-yard passage there. Everything was built on the rim of a soup bowl. Picture in your mind a soup bowl. This is like the rim of the bowl where we are right now. You go to the left about 8-10 blocks. Soup bowl slowly take a little dip, right? Take a look at that yellow building to the left. 1, 2, 3 floors up there. There's a balcony hanging off the building. You guys agree with that? Would that be a balcony to the left? Right? Mm-hmm. All right. How about next door to the brown looking building? Is that another balcony?
Yep.
Sorry, no ma'am, not around here. That is known as a gallery. See, your gallery hangs over the sidewalk where the poles hold it up, right? Good, crossing the sidewalk, right? Your balcony is a freestanding post hanging off a wall or a building, not less than attached to your home. You come to the city of New Orleans, we'll mix you up real good, confusion. We'll say one thing, you say something different. Some cases probably mean the same thing, right? Some cases, right? Over here to the left, behind the tree there, the big tall statue that you see standing up, Jean-Baptiste Limon, Sir D. Bienville. Now, what a name. Now, Bienville was exploring this area around the 1700s, right? There's the person that decided to get his area his name, the city of New Orleans, to the left. On the other side of Bienville's statue, the priest that you see there, those guys travel with Bienville. They prayed for him, hope that he find good fortune and good fame. The Indian you see on the other side of Bienville's statue, those guys also travel with Bienville, so whenever he got lost, they help him find his way around again, honey. As we come around a curve, fall out here to the right, you'll see a green and beige looking tent. That is where you get the Natchez steamboat. It cruises up and down the Mississippi River about 10 miles or so. So straight ahead in front of us, about 10 miles, you'll find the Charmat National Battlefield. That's exactly where the Battle of New Orleans took place, right along the mighty Mississippi River. So you're going to cruise up and down the Mississippi River on the Natchez steamboat. Lunch and dinner, get to listen to the old Dixieland music. Tools indicated in front of us where you get the Natchez steamboat. Now the building in front to the right of us, Jackson Brewery, also known as the Jack's, J-A-X. This was once a local beer brewery we had in the city of New Orleans back in the 1860s. Now they closed around the 1970s. Why those guys closed? Budweiser, Miller Beer came along and forced them out of business. Now the building itself reopened back in the later part of the 1970s. When it did, it turned to souvenir stores, restaurants, condos, coffee shops, other places of business. Anybody get a chance to taste the jambalaya since you've been here? The jambalaya, anybody? Yeah. And this is the eating town. You guys got to get to eating, okay? So if you come to this town, you get about 3-4 days. You know, the ladies tell you put on those spandex, right? Because you will add on 2-3 pounds on your next day. So, jambalaya in front of us here, Tuesday, Cater, one of the best spots in this area. Cafe Maspero, the great looking building. Now, some of us might serve that jambalaya spicy, and I mean very, very spicy. If you ever get a hold to it that way, you know what's safe to get. Old jambalaya, your pants is on fire. And why could your pants be on fire? Because you have to make that deposit later. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. At the traffic light to the right up the ramp is what we call the moonwalk, named after one of the old mayors of the city of New Orleans. About 50 years ago, Mayor Moon Landry, you walk up there, get your nice little view of the mighty Mississippi River. Cross the traffic light to the left behind the black fence that you can see is the Jackson Square. When we get there, right down the center, you're going to see the statue sitting on top of a horse there. Andrew Jackson, you'll be looking at. He was a hero of the Battle of New Orleans, took place in the city back in 1815, 1815. He was also once the governor of the state of Louisiana. Then later, he became the 7th president of the United States of America. Directly behind the Andrew Jackson statue, when you see it to the left there, you'll find the St. Louis Cathedral, which is one of the oldest Roman Catholic cathedrals in the country, still in operation today. Now the St. Louis Cathedral there, it had two different looks, right? One side that Spanish colonial look, but after those two great fires, they had to change it up. Although hit to the left there, folks. Open up every day. During the weekend, Sunday, that's Sunday Mass. Next door to the St. Louis Cathedral to the left, you will find the Cabildo. Inside the Cabildo is where the Louisiana Purchase took place, 1803, right? So the French came along, 1718, ran the city to 1760. Spanish group took over. Those guys ran this town, 1760 to about 1802. So the Cabildo to the left of St. Louis Cathedral was once the city hall for those guys. Now they decided they had enough of this city, 1802. Surrender back to the French now. 1 year later, the French decided they want to sell the whole entire state of Louisiana. So you fall out here to the right is the Mississippi River, behind us up the river to Minnesota. Plenty of small cities and states along the mighty Mississippi River was once part of the state of Louisiana. So the French decided to sell the whole entire state of Louisiana from New Orleans to Minnesota. They gave it away, $15 million during the Louisiana Purchase, 1803. All took place here to the left, inside of the Cabildo. Folks was upset with the French and giving this whole entire state away. See, the Americans just wanted to purchase the city of New Orleans, but the French said, no, you guys have to take the whole entire state here because we got to get out of here back in France to continue to fight that battle against the British. Café du Monde to the right. You guys been here yet? Open up 24 hours, 7 days a week. Never closed, right? 1860, the Fernandez brother is the group that got this Café du Monde started. Now, they serve and sell beignets. Beignets, you guys had that yet? It's in the shape of a pillar, about this size. Now what they do is sprinkle a little white powdered sugar right on top of it. So every time you bite into the beignet, the white powdered sugar just get all over your airway and make a mess. And that white powdered sugar make it look like you're doing some other white powder. You know what I'm talking about, Michigan. Only building here to be the French market here. A few more blocks gonna go to the left side. This will be the oldest market in the country, 1790 when it first came on, when it opened up. It was an open air market, no doors and no windows, right? Walk in, walk out 24 hours. It was called the Colonial Market. Then later, they changed the name to the French Market. Today, they open up about 8 o'clock in the morning, about 7:30 in the evening. What about a muffalata? You guys heard of that one? Some folks say muffalata, because that's the way it's spelled. This just me. What you get? Sesame seed bun, provolone cheese, ham, salami, pimento, little green almonds, little vesper right on top of it, right? You can purchase that to the left at the Central Grocery Store. The Sicilians brought that here back in the later part of the 1800s. Now if you decide to go there by yourself and get that muffalata, it'll hold you for 2, maybe 3 days. Make sure you take someone with you, right? Now this part of the French Quarter was once known as Little Italy, where the Italians settled here, right? Behind us, Spanish and the French cross canal, the Americans. French market shift gear went to the left side. You're going to see the next block looks like a little different. What happened around here? Well, this structure has some problems. So today, it's part of the produce market to the left. Handful of small cafes coming up here to the left. And if you that person, every time you visit a new city, new state, new country, you love to shop for souvenirs, right? This is going to be the place to do that. Coming up here to the left, the next block. It is called the flea market. Nice gifts, great souvenirs, probably half price to what you pay in different parts of the city, right? Located right down here, Northeast and Barrack Street, coming up in over here and shop there for those good souvenirs there at the flea market. You gotta know it's all imitation, right? It's not the real deal. But it's worth the trip over here. Take some good old souvenirs home to your family. They open up every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Next block to the left, the building that's coming up. It opened up around the mid part of the 1760s when it first opened up. It was like a army military base. It was called Fort St. Charles. It was here to protect the city of New Orleans from Esplanade to Canal Street behind us. But around 1800, they closed down. By 1830, the building itself reopened. It became the U.S. Mint, M-I-N-T building. Inside of this building is rated with print up money, like American money. Never ever printed up paper money, just copper, coin, and gold. It closed around 1909. It became the Louisiana State Museum. I want to say about 10, 12 years ago, they converted over to the Jazz Museum. Yeah, the Esplanade, no Peter behind us, but Esplanade and Decade in front of us to the left. Frenchman Street, you guys been down here yet? No. Alright, you guys been staying in the room, watching the walls. Get on out, do a little something, rest, sleep when you get back home. See, once upon a time, you could drink 24 hours, 7 days a week in the city, right? Here, Frenchman Street, this is where some of our local folks hang out. One block to the left will be the French Quarter. You find Bourbon Street over there. Now, after you leave the French Quarter or Bourbon Street, yeah, you'd have had 4 or 5 cocktails, right? Feeling so good. But you come around here to Frenchman Street, and you discover that even more entertainment, more of an adult crowd here, right? Bourbon Street, almost anything and everything goes along there. And you find out there's more live entertainment around here. Here's the thing. You decide you want to get a couple more cocktails in it. After those other cocktails, the other 2 cocktails you get, you might start doing something different to your body there. Yeah, you could end up in this place like this one to the right of us. We call it the tattoo parlor. Yeah, what would probably happen to you the next morning from the night before when you wake up? You just might realize you had Bob's name written on your shoulder and your boyfriend's name is Bruce. You might end up with Sarah's name on your shoulder and your girlfriend's name is Susie. Now, some good clean fun around here, right? Yeah. So you leave the French Quarter, you come on out, one block out of the French Quarter, come over here and party just a little bit. Now some of these nightclubs have reopened, some of them have not opened as of yet. So just come on through, see what's going on, see what happened, right? You'd be surprised what you find down here in this area there. Nice little area to hang out here. There's a whole lot of construction work taking place around the city due to the COVID. Now, I can't tell you what's open, what's closed, right? Because COVID didn't cripple this city. I'm sure your city did the same thing. So, well, dealing with almost the same kind of situation, different city, different states. That's all that is, right? Here in the city, what happened at nighttime? Well, you didn't have 3, 4 cocktails and things still looking different to you, right? Yeah. Before you know it, you want to go into the cemetery at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Because almost all the cemetery closed about 3:30, 4 o'clock around here, right? You couldn't get into that early part of the day. So it is. You'd have a few drinks and then climb that wall and get to the cemetery at midnight. You're so drunk you can't climb back over it. So you end up spending the night. Caretaker comes in the next morning, see you inside the cemetery. He might say to you, what are you doing in the cemetery this time of the morning? You would say to that person, what are you doing in my bedroom? I just spent the night. Here to the left, the yellow building, check it out. The gallery, once again, hanging over the sidewalk. Check out the poles. There's some spikes hanging off the poles. You guys gotta take a good look. You guys see those spikes hanging off the poles to the left? Well, those are not your everyday, ordinary spikes. You know what those are called? Romeo spikes. So whenever a young man wanted to have his way with your daughter, but you was not home for the evening, you probably would say to yourself, climb on up there, Mr. Romeo. I'm sure when you come down, he will become a Juliet. So you take your hike up as Jack, you come back down as Jill. DBA heads to the left, nightclub, got the spotting hat to the right. On the weekend, music inside, music outside. To the left here, Snow Harbor. Now, I'm not sure these guys have reopened or not, right? But you can have cocktails on the sidewalk. You got Meriden here to the left. During the daytime, on the weekend, you got a restaurant at nighttime. Yep, a nightclub. Over here to the right, Washington Square. A few times a year, this dog contest take place over there. The dog that has on the best costume become king dog or queen dog. for the big Mardi Gras parade take place around here for the dogs, right? There's more than 100 dogs participate in that parade. The dog that has on the best costume become king dog or queen dog. The name of that parade is called Barkers. Like your dog is born. Bernardo di Meriti, this was once his residence here, to the left there. So this area was named after Bernardo di Meriti, excuse me. Now, his family was only his mother and his father. Supposedly he was only child, right? He lost his parents both at the same time or an accident. So he inherited millions of dollars, just a teenager though, right? And all this land. But he had no idea what to do with all that money. So he had bad habits like drinking and partying, smoking and doing drugs and other kind of crazy things, right? He even registered for school, but every time they would call his name, he just didn't answer because he didn't show up. Once he realized he was losing some of his land, right? His money there, he decided to sell some more of his land. Before you know it, right back on top again. He became a developer. He even built a whole town by the name of Mandeville, straight ahead in front of about 45 miles. He developed a whole lot of other communities around here. After he realized he was losing his money, right? Excuse me, right here to the right. There's a black SUV coming out. Right next to it. The house that you're going to see, one front door, one front window. When it was designed exactly just like that. When it first came along, the front door would line up with the rear door here to the right of us. So no AC, right? No air conditioning. So the hot warm day, you roll, open up the door, open up the rear door and the front door, you then get your nice little breeze from inside of the house there. But you also was able to take your shotgun and shoot through the front door and the rear door, hit the chicken in the backyard. So this is known as a shotgun house. A single barrel shotgun because they had no wall partition inside it. Next door to it, this will be your double barrel shotgun house. This time you take your double barrel shotgun, shoot through the front door and the rear door, hit the chicken in the backyard once again. And if you look up over here to the right on the pole there, the blue sign, the name of this street is G-U-R-R, G-U-N-D-Y. Just let the traffic come around us right quick. So what's the name of this street, folks? Burgundy for you, and you. I'm so sorry. You would never get that around here because we call it Burgundy. That's the way the French one pronounced it many years ago. Today we still pronounce it the same way. You walk up to someone and you look up a bird in the street, not too many people can help you find that street. They might say to you, let's go have ourselves a glass of wine, right? Some of us that call this the Meriti area simply mean that we're outside of the French Quarter, a few blocks in front of us. Take you right back to the French Quarter. Now you're going to hear a little bump on the top of the bus there. The bus is growing there, the trees is hanging low, right? And be my antenna there. We usually take it right on the other street, but the cable line is dropped down a little bit farther, so we're going to skip ourselves around here. So we'll take this right turn here. Coming up over here to the right side, almost in the middle of the block, you're going to see the almost slightly the same thing. Two front doors and two front windows this time, right? Green looking shutters there. This is what you call a Creole cottage. Not because of the colors. The rooftop. Come to the front of the house, there's a slope like a little pitch roof, like a belly there, right? We'll call it a pitch roof, right? Inside of that Creole cottage, what you get? A little small living room, a little small kitchen, a small bathroom. Where's your bedroom? Inside the attic, right? Kind of like a loft there. Now recently, some people have been preaching up the whole Creole cottage to get a little bit more space. Many years ago, this Creole cottage was once located by the big, huge mansion, right? Today, you can build them anywhere else you like. Would you guys like to know a little bit about Hurricane Katrina? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Yes. All right. Because some folks come to the town and they say, well, that's all we talk about. I said, that's true. Some of these areas you go through, you can't help but talk about it, right? 15 years, 8, 9 months ago, something like that, August 2005. See, we lost more than 1,400 people in our city due to that hurricane. So about 4 blocks to the right, it'd take it to the ninth ward. 2 miles to the right, it'd take it to the lower ninth ward. It's way down here. Right, way down here. Inside of the lower ninth ward due to Hurricane Katrina, 15 feet of water over that community. No way. Oh, yes, indeed. It was like a nightmare, just like a horror movie, like someone made something up, but it was so true. Sioux Pole falling to the right, straight here in front of us also, right? Here to the right of us is what we call the 7th ward. These wards are like describing the community. Maybe like the east side of LA, west side of Chicago, west side of Memphis, kind of something like that. To the left side, City New Orleans, French Quarter, 17 early part of the 1800s. And also here to the right, this is once known, and still today, is known as the Trade Me area, right? Inside the Trade Me area is where the free people come, and some of the slaves live right in this area. In the City New Orleans on a Sunday, slaves were freed in the city. No way. Oh yes, they were. You have city laws today, you have state laws. Back then there was law to protect the slaves on a Sunday. It was known as the Code of Noir, N-O-I-R, which was known as the Black Code. So on a Sunday, if those slaves did not want to work, some of those decided to work anyway, right? You'll be at the Congo Square, straight ahead in front of us, about 8 blocks, North Rampart and St. Peter. And what we did, they'll take their art, they craft the crops, they raise along the houses to the Congo Square. Some of those guys were able to raise enough money to buy their way to freedom. Or buy your way to freedom. Wasn't that crazy? Those were some of the things that took place here in this community. The Trade Me area was named after Mr. Claude Trade Me. He was from France. He was a realtor and a hat maker, a very, very wealthy person. When he came into this area, he bought up houses, business, land, and plantation that was once in this area. He sold some of it to the free people, colored some of their slaves. That's when some of those guys were able to advance in life to become business owners and homeowners. That's right, here in the City of New Orleans, birthplace of jazz, Trade Me area, right here, folks. This is where it all got started, right here. You guys ever heard of Trombone Shorty? Anybody heard of Trombone Shorty? He's a Grammy walker. This was once his community where he grew up. Now, Trombone Shorty, he was about 6 feet tall, so there's never anything short about him. Maybe he was the shortest person in his group growing up. But our jazz musicians come from out of this area here, right? Down to the left here, when I take a right turn, it's called the Louis Armstrong Park. He's once a neighbor of the City of New Orleans. Down to the left there. Now, coming up here to the left side, the white structure that you're going to see, it's called the St. Augustine Church. Some of us just might call it St. Augustine. Now, the St. Augustine Church is the first and the oldest African-American Catholic church in this country. It came around 1840s. Now, it really opened up a little while just before that. But when the slaves once attended this church, guess what? They could never ever sit down in the pew. They all had to stand up in the back part of the building there. Now, also, plenty of the slaves were supposed to become Catholic religion, whether they want their religion or not. Today, 97% of this congregation is African American. 1 block to the right, French Quarters. In front of us, Governor Nickel. This is Henrietta DeLillo Street. She was a nun, but she was one of those civil rights leaders, really. You guys ever heard of a jazz funeral? Anybody heard of a jazz funeral? Yes, indeed. You ever attended a jazz funeral, man? Well, here's the deal with the jazz funeral. Plenty of musicians that's living right now. Don't let their family know. Hey, now, when it's time for me to leave, I gotta go. I'd like for you to give me a jazz funeral. So what happened? When the body comes out of the church house or the funeral home, you might get a half a dozen guys. They get a hold of that casket and they walk a few blocks singing some sad songs that make you want to cry. Now what happened? A few more months later, all the music changed. They get what they call the upbeat tempo. Those guys would take that casket, coffin, whatever you like to call it, and raise it high above their head. Then they start dancing, celebrating the death of that person, right? A few blocks later, into the hearse, off to the cemetery. What about the second line? You guys ever heard of a second line? Yeah, you got the brass band, the jazz band, whatever you like to call it. They're considered the first line of the group. And the group of people that follow them, they become the second part of the group. So we call those guys the second liners. And we do have a second line parade take place in the city of New Orleans. Probably 9 months out of the year, mainly on the Sunday in the African American community. These guys get all dressed up in these $1,100 suits. $500 shoes. Yeah. And they start dancing to the community, having a parade, 11 o'clock at night, about 4 o'clock in the evening. But every half a mile or so, they will stop at the nearest bar just to get another drink. We'll call it the firewater, get a little juicy, honey. Even come out this time of year. Yeah, that is true. Unbelievable. Some of those guys that don't have a little heat stroke pass out right there. Going straight to the hospital. It get hot around here, folks. So Well, you guys can do, guess what? During the daytime, get your cold beverage, right? Cold beer. Leave the liquor alone until late evening. Because 9, 10 o'clock at night is still be 89 degrees. With low humidity. No sunshine. So be careful how you drink it. That's the time of year. Trade May Street here, right? Look over to the left of the building to see what it do not get the sign in the rear. The little white SUV back there. Back behind it, you don't get to see that behind most of these big huge mansions. What is that back there though? That was once known as the slave quarters and the kitchen. Want to be served, the slave was sold slavery right there. But the kitchen was not attached to the home. Why? Because if there was ever a fight that take place, it would burn down the big huge mansion. This is Esplanade Avenue. You ever look for some good old crawfish A2 some gumbo? Yeah, some red beans, some rice, deep southern fried chicken. Here, Esplanade and North Robinson to the left. That's called Little Dizzy's Cafe. And the thing about that place, you pay one price, you can eat all your life. Here's the thing, when you get ready to leave, you don't need a taxi cab, you don't need a Uber. You might want to walk some of that off behind. 4 blocks behind us, back to the French Quarter. It's all part of the trading area, right? TRE, once again. Our musicians come out of this area. Loop around to the left, like a divider, separate part of the city here. Over here to the right, behind a green looking fence, Duford Baldwin House, once known as the Duford Baldwin Mansion Plantation Museum, a single family home. Now the general once lived here, General Beauregard. Today, no one really lives there. That's more vacation, getaway home. To the right, down below the bus, is a bicycle lane. Came into the area about 4 years ago. Before that, this was 2 lanes for vehicles traveling each direction. So if you rent yourself a bicycle, that's another way to see different parts of the city. To the right of us in the next block, check out the brick wall. Take a good look here. And what is that you guys see sitting on top of the brick wall here to the right? Anybody see that to the right? What is that? Glass. That's right, broken glass. Nobody lived here. 10, 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, someone did live here. Now the group of guys that once lived here, you know what they're saying? We just cannot afford a loan system. So we're going to break some glass, break some mirrors, put on top of brick walls. And this will become our ADT system, right? Now, someone purchased this home about 2 years ago. But some of these are historic homes. You can't do whatever you want to a historic home. The front has to remain the same as part of the side. These guys decided they want to do a little something different, so the city wanted to shut them down. So still trying to require another permit due to the COVID. You don't know how long to get that permit right. If you notice, some of these homes have these big tall windows in it. What'd that come with? 11-foot ceilings. Can you imagine trying to cool down your bedroom before AC came along with 11-foot ceiling? Well, today, the electric company really loved that, right? There's North Galvez in front of us street. Galvez. Named after Bernardo de Galvez, the first Spanish governor in the state of Louisiana back in late 1800s. We're about to head right back into the 7th Ward. 7th Ward is tricky around here, folks. So it goes to the right, a little bit into the 8th Ward, and it goes to the left, a little bit into the 6th Ward. Now, this particular part of the 7th Ward, this is where some of your Creole folks are. Creole only in the state of Louisiana. Yep, French, Spanish, African American, Native American, Indians, Haitians was considered as Creoles. Elsewhere, different part of the country, mixed relationship. But the Creole folks, all those different nationalities come together to make our beautiful babies and to share their different culture of life. As you can see to the left, Creole folks love to paint their home different color. They all stand out. Check out the green one to the left. Take a good look at it. It's leaning to one side like it's about to fall down. I'm sure if you walk inside of it, you've got to be walking a little crooked. Next block to the left where the flags are, part of the Agadegas home, right? Now, he was once a French impressionist. He was an artist. He used to come in and do some of his work because his mother once lived here, right? Now, down on the bottom floor, museum. Up top, bed and breakfast. Next up to another little piece of bed and breakfast. Something take place there every few weekends, right? You go to the supermarket, right? You do a little shopping. You get to the register, they might say to you, what would you like to have? Plastic bag? A paper bag, right? Now that paper bag, most of the time, is a brown, khaki color looking paper bag, right? So here, in the city of New Orleans, back during those days, it was an advantage to be Creole. You got a little bit more in life, right? So for some strange reason, you say I'm Creole, they say, okay, let's find out if you're really Creole, right? They'll take and put you to the test. The brown paper bag, they'll put it up to your face. Now, if you was lighter than the brown paper bag, you might pass for Creole. But if you was darker than the brown paper bag, you was African American. Wasn't that crazy? Didn't make any sense at all. But those are some of the strange, crazy things that happen here in the city of New Orleans. Plantation, most of them owned by the French and Spanish, right? Plenty of time those guys that leave home to take care of their business. Sometimes they leave the country to take care of their business. Now, when it was time for those guys to leave the country, you know what they'll bring home? Some roses to their wife. You know what they would say to her? Oh, my darling, baby, sugar, honey, I have to leave this country. I'll be going about 3, maybe 4 months, right? She believed in everything he said to her because he was the breadwinner. He brought home the bacon. She even helped him pack his bags. When it was time for him to leave, can you believe he never did leave the city? He came here in front of us, Esplanade Ridge, to get with his mistress. That meant he made a family here, just like he had in the big house. Creole kids went to the best school, had some of the best education. Some of those kids were sent out of the country to get the education. Years later, what happened? Plantation owner passed away, huh? So that meant some of your Creole family got homes right here in this area coming up. But some of those Creole families was not able to keep up the maintenance of these large homes around here. So they end up selling them, moving into a smaller home, right? So Esplanade Ridge coming up, we're about to elevate another 2 feet, maybe 3 feet high above sea level. Because most part of the city is below sea level. It could be 6, maybe 10 feet. All depends what part of the city you're in. Due to the Hurricane Katrina, 80% of the city was underwater. You could have had $1 million cash money and there was no other spending. Everything was shut down. Esplanade Ridge is where we are right now. Most of these homes around here probably start about $400,000-500,000. And they go up to about $3-4 million. Coming up the next block to the right, American flags, 2-grade staircase, you're going to see part of the Crescent family. Came around the early part of 1900. Looked like a very, very old home, but it's not. When they first put this home together, they say the right side would be used by the men, the left side would be used by the ladies. Maybe that to keep the men from looking at the ladies' runs. But the main entrance up top, the corridors from the front to the rear, the very much to the left and to the right. Down below, we call it a basement. But you know that's not a basement. Because if it really was a basement, during the rainy season, flood around here will go underwater, huh? Take a good look. Some of these homes built on a slight angle a little bit. The reason for that, 1860s, 1870s, there was no AC, no air conditioning. So we built a home around here during those days. You had to build it that way because you could not block the little breeze. Came up the Bayou St. Joe and helped cool down these residents before AC came along. Then to the right, the next block, you can see on the right side really what's going on here, right? Last 4 or 5 homes you can really see. Just in case your neighbor decides he or she wants to sit on the front porch. You cannot block their view. They have to have a view to the left or to the right. Isn't that a crazy law? You guys have crazy laws in your city. I'm sure you follow them anyway. Anybody ever heard of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival? Anybody heard of that festival? You guys been here before. I'm sure you did. What a party. We talking about 800,000-900,000 people in the city at the same time. So that festival usually take place the last week in April, and then get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday comes back. First week of May, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Take place at the racetrack, the fairgrounds here in History Street. Way down to the right behind the black fence, the black people there. Well, canceled this season, but got moved, right? They move into the month of October, so you got a chance to come back again. October 8th, matter of fact, there. So you guys got time to make your reservation and come back. There's more than 20 stages over there. More than 30 acts per day. Any kind of music you can think of, you will find it. One price, guessing $70-75 all day long. 11 o'clock in the morning to about 7:30 in the evening. Over here to the left side, the white building coming up, Cabrini All Girls High School. 6th grade to 12th grade. Opened up around the early part of 1900s, but the later part of 1800s. It was once a boarding school for kids that lost their parents, right? Yeah. And guess where the parents were buried? Here to the right across the street. Right over at the St. Louis Cemetary number 3. So we all gonna go in together as a group. So we're gonna become some groupers today. And the other young lady coming out here, she's selling pliers, It's Fraley. We call it Priory. It's pretty good. That's up to you if you want to do one, right? She'll tell you her story. Now, trash can in the front of the door. Need to get rid of your cups, bottles, cans, leftover lunch. Just want to make sure no one slip or fall. Come to the right. Part of it is an elderly folks retirement home. So can you imagine when you wake up early in the morning with your cup of coffee in your hand, but you turn around and look out of the other window into the cemetery? Will that mess you up? Beautiful place. It's called the Esplanade. What if we get this view here in front of the Bayou? Bayou St. John is called. A bayou is an offspring to another large body of water. Most of your bayous could be 3 to 10 feet deep. And wherever you find one, somewhere near, there'll be another larger body of water. So to the right, 3 miles, to Lake Pontchartrain. Now most of you guys flew over when you came in, or you drove right on over it. That's the only way you get into the city. Right, east, left, west, straight ahead is north. Now behind us, Gulf of Mexico, that's south. That's what hurricanes coming in from. You might get cold up down that area. Anybody from New York? You guys pay a visit New York. Maybe paid a visit over to the Central Park there, which is about 857 acres. What's in front of us? This will be our city park. That's right. It's a little bit more than 1,300 acres here coming up. I'm saying 1,300 acres here, not 18. City Central Park is about 857 acres. So you know what that means? Take a little bit of Central Park, put it inside of here. You just might end up with hundreds of acres left over. And it's packed crowded almost every weekend. So inside the city park, you'll find 30 tennis courts, 10 soccer fields, 2 football stadiums, high school football, a small baseball diamond, high school baseball. There's an old boys school here called Christian Brother, been around since the late part of the 1800s. There's a sculpture garden. There's a botanical garden. There's a little small amusement park inside of here. Small ride for kids get on. You also have what we call the New Orleans Museum of Art straight here in front of us, right? That's the basement, the building in front of us. There's 2 floors to the rear, all the way to the back. Inside of this museum, they opened up around the 1920s. There's more than 25,000 little pieces of pictures and documentaries inside of this museum. It opened up every day except for Monday, on a Wednesday. It'll be free for Louisiana citizens when you get in. And if you're traveling with someone from Louisiana, you might get in for free also. Yeah, that's the bayou to the right. But you know what the name of it is called? Big Lake. Check it out. Nothing big about it now. You can rent yourself a canoe, kayak, boat, skating board, some other things you can rent. Inside the museum to the left of us here, on the weekends, parties, receptions, weddings, you name it. Even though small conventions take place here on Monday, even though closed on Monday, but they open up for a convention. Sculpture garden to the right, this part of it opened up 6 months ago. Used to be free to enter, now they charge you $5. Come around a couple curves to the left there. There's another part of the sculpture garden that opened up for 47 years from what I know of. Pulled out here to the right, way out there to the right. There's a building out there beyond the trees there. Children's Museum opened up in this area last year sometime. Botanical garden to the right once again, like to know more about flowers and trees. They got all that good information there for you. Straight ahead in front of us, just a few blocks, you find that little amusement park with the little small kids who don't know rides. I'm gonna take a little left turn and go to the parking lot. As I take the left turn over to the right behind some of these other trees you're gonna see to the right of us, you will find a little putt-putt golf station. 2 of them. One gives you some information about the state of Louisiana, the other one gives you some information about the city norms. Cut up over to the right, way out there to the right. There are looking structures called the Parasol. That's where weddings take place. Up there all over, go right behind us to the Botanical Garden for the reception. Family reunions take place over there also. You got to rent to get that spot. You just can't pull up there and have a picnic. Now, if you take a bathroom break, it's different than a lunch break. Sounds right? Good. We're taking a bathroom break. We're not going to take a lunch break, okay? So we're going to pull up in front of the Cafe du Monde. All the way down the center. Double doors already open for you. Way down there at the end. Men's room, ladies room, to the left and to the right. Two people or more, somebody use the mid-room, someone use the later room. There's a one downside to put your order in. Coffee, beignets, sodas, waters, chocolate, frozen, mocha, whatever they have there. Alright, so 15 minutes. Use a number. Maybe in the French Quarter they might serve 5,000, 10,000 a day. Here, that might do 1,000 a day, right? So what happened in the French Quarter? You got quantity there, but you get quality here. Now what do you do? Like quantity and a whole lot of money. That's another thing. When you prepare that in a day, you're going to skip a little bit. Might take a little shortcut. But you'll never know the difference until I told you. The great stuff hanging out the trees to the right there. Check out way over here to the right. Right? Spanish moss is called. Now, back in the later part 1800s into the 1900s, they would take and pull that Spanish moss off the trees. And they would take it, hose it down to get the bugs out. Let it sit and get back and get it a few more times. Then they would stuff your pillowcase or your bed mattress with that. Let's see if we can put that together, right? Maybe your granny, your great-grandmother come over to spend a night at your residence. She always wanted to tuck you in because she had a service she had to tell you. She would say to you, sleep tight, darling, just don't let the bed bugs tight. And you thought it was a joke, you know, but she knew they didn't get over the bugs out that Spanish moss. She knew that. Here to the right, these are immature junior live oak trees. We lost plenty of live oak trees through the Hurricane Katrina, right? To the left and to the right with the big old wide trunks on them. These are mature live oak trees. About 250, maybe 270 years old. When they get to 300, you can almost tell they're getting close, right? But look at this tree here. That one way out there to the left there. Different shade color of the tree. The bulk of it is bulking out here on one side, right? Yeah. It's getting close to 300 years old, right? But you have red oak, you have white oak, you have chestnut oak, you have Virginia oak, you have Japanese evergreen oak trees. So many other different kind of oak trees. But the leaves on our oak trees, they green almost year round, right? But take a look at the vines that's traveling up on a tree branch. They brown, they shrivel up, look like they just died. When the sun shines on it, that's exactly what happened, right? Just like that. But see when the water hit it, like the rain, it turned green again. So they're resurrect. So we'll call those resurrection ferns. That's because they'll live over and over again. And it will not happen for us. You can forget that. No way in the world. Some of us don't want it anymore, right? Such a crazy world. Now, in the mid-part 1800s, inside the city folk, there was once a sugarcane plantation. They used to process sugarcane. Check out the live oak trees. They're all around the city here. They grow right in front of your residence. The roots from the base part of the tree could be about 20, 30 yards away, right? So here's the thing. It's in front of your door. You just might end up what they call a crooked sidewalk. Yeah. And then you can do about that until the city get involved. When they try to fix it or repair it, guess what? You get a hill in front of you over there, not too much better. In this state of Louisiana, we have what's called parish, P-A-R-I-S-H. You guys have counties, you know, boroughs, Canada, province, maybe some different part of the world. So the city of New Orleans, located inside of Orleans Parish. That's where we are now, Orleans Avenue. Now where did these parish people came from? The French and the Spanish made a Catholic religion church. Because if you belong to a Catholic religion church, they will say to you, what parish do you belong to, right? Meaning your church. Where we are right now is called Mid-City. This simply means that we are only in the mid-part of the city of New Orleans, between the two lowest bodies of water that surround the city. To the right, 4 miles, Lake Pontchartrain. To the left, 4 miles, Mississippi River. Mid-part of the city of New Orleans. Traffic light, Bienville Avenue. Once again, Bienville, the father of the city of New Orleans, 1718. Bienville Avenue here, Bienville Street, and then there's water, right? Now, Bienville, he had a brother, went by the name of Iberville. I-B-E-R-V-I-L-L-E. You see how those brothers though, right? They traveled up and down the mighty Mississippi River. Iberville decided he had enough. Bienville continued on with his journey, right? He decided to start right along the mighty Mississippi River and get his area named the city of New Orleans. Folks was upset, disturbed with Bienville. Why in the world would that guy do something like that? Build a town near the Mississippi River where it always floods. They didn't know it either. They didn't know this would become one of the most well-known cities in the world. Right here. Yes, indeed, folks. You heard it before, that no place like home. You ever hear anybody say that? It was talking about me. It's my hometown. They knew it was coming. They want to be anywhere else, right here. No place like home. Canal Street in front of us, never ever canal. Had plans to turn to one, but ran out of money. Because they wanted to connect Canal Street with a canal to the Mississippi River to the left. Lake Pond Street to the right. Didn't happen though. But down to the right of us, on Canal Street, 9 blocks, what do you find? Cemetary City. 12, maybe 14 cemeteries, right? Public cemeteries, private cemeteries, Jewish cemeteries, Archdiocese Catholic cemetery, which is the same thing, right? But if you go into one of those cemeteries down here to the right, you could very well end up at a totally different cemetery. A totally different gate. Now, where we are right now, probably just a few blocks in front of us, half a mile behind us, east direction to the left to the right, half a mile. Before the 1800s, this was a town. We still have a town. You know, it's right about the old boys Catholic school. It's called Jesuit. Part of the Jesuit priests to help get the school started. Somewhere around the later part of 1800s. But they moved into this area around 1940. The Jesuit priests, once again, with the group to get this school started. Now these guys on this block to the right, 2 blocks behind them. In front of us, on half of this block to the right. Where to go? But, second building to the right is an elementary school. That's 2 different names though, right? Way up top on the building, you see these yellow letters with like crossing. What's that called? That's Florence. They said it was not going to fix the kids up, but I think they did it already. Anybody from Minnesota on the bus? No. Yep. Alright. Anybody live near the U.S. Highway 61 in New York City? Okay. Second traffic light in front of us is 2 lanes coming. It's also known as the U.S. Highway 61. You go to the left, 2.5 miles. That's the end. If you go the other direction to the right, that's the beginning. So for some strange reason, if you want to take that walk downtown New Orleans, on the U.S. Highway 61 to get to the right road, 1 million traffic lights. Yeah. Below the bridge, it's flooded all the time. Some folks want to test the water out anyway, right? It's stuck right here. Have to wait for the fire truck to come on. Fire truck take that long, extended line and reach it out until you climb on top of it, leave your vehicle there. Look to the left, look up high. Black letters, Xavier. Below University. What's the name of the university to the left? Xavier. Right. Have you said Xavier? I'm sorry. We have no idea what you're talking about. Some folks will say Xavier, right? Your name could be Xavier, probably almost spelled the same way. We just might call you Xavier for a few times and you become Xavier, buddy. Now the Xavier University is the first and the oldest African-American Catholic private university in this country. What about the 1920s when it came along? Catherine Drexel, the founder of this university. Her family was very, very wealthy. They did different things in different parts of the country. But she wanted to start off this little small university, right? Yeah. So Catherine Drexel today is known as Saint hop on much as you like. Every couple blocks, pull up, corner above your head. You guys ever heard of the Eiffel Tower? Anybody ever heard of that place? We don't have one of those. But we take a look to the left, check it out. That's the baby right there. It's the miniature. It's called the Eiffel. Where does it take place over that nightclub on a weekend? Look how we turn to a restaurant. There's your street car to the left, folks, once again. Historic landmark, a moving landmark, huh? Right now, we're in the Garden District. Everything to the right side of the street, 5 blocks to the left, 13 blocks straight ahead. Now, when Americans decided they had enough of the French, the German, the Russian, the Italians falling behind us, they told those guys that they was moving. But they say, now, where in the world you can be moving? All this is wetland and stuff. Well, this was like a piece of foam land, like a cattle ranch. It was owned by the Liverdads family, which was a very, very wealthy family. Americans came into the area, bought up some of this land. First thing they did, plant flowers, roses, and trees, spruce it up, gave it a different smell. Came back, started building these big old huge mansions. Most of them around here valued from $1 to $7 million. Some people worked a little bit more than that, all depending on part of the Garden District you're in. And this home to the right of us, at the end of the block, early part of 1900s, it was a hotel. Today, it's known as a Hedgewood Surgical Center. These guys provide one-day service for you. Check in this morning, come on tomorrow evening. If you'd like to come on out, I'll pick you up tomorrow. Anybody? What take place here? Facelift and tummy tuck. Anybody? Nope. Sorry. Let's keep on moving. Want to make it a secret? On your own, right? St. Charles Avenue, Cemetary is where we're on. Some good service here, though. One-day service. Next block to the right, at the end of the block. They once had this big old, huge, historic home here. It was called the Morris Down home. Mr. Morris Down, he was one of those persons that helped us to get that lottery started back in the 1860s, right? And this big old huge mansion, it caught a fire a little over a year ago. It was made of cedar, cycle wood, and stuff burned forever. Inside, cherry wood, staircase, fireplace. That stuff will burn forever, right? So this place caught a fire. It burned for 10 hours straight. A few days later, it was still in smoke. They have planned to build another home there. During the parade season, now the parade that go by the name of Rex, R-E-X, the oldest organization that paraded the city. The King of Rex once lived there. So the parades come through here, they're going to stop and toast the King and Queen every time. You guys ever heard of MTV Real World? Look to the left. That's where they all got started right there. Yeah. That was once known as the Belfort, B-E-L-F-O-R-T mansion. Now, it was once white, but when those kids finished in and outside, they tore the place up. Tore it up. And it's been more than 100 grand renovated all over there. Painted up in different colors so you won't recognize that St. Charles and Ford Street. Now you guys look up high to the left side. Inside of a couple of small trees, what is that you see there? Can you guys see that to the left? What are those?
Beads.
Mardi Gras beads, that's right. Can you believe they only grow here in our city? They don't grow anywhere else. It doesn't matter where you been, whatever you heard. But the crazy thing, Mardi Gras got started in Mobile, Alabama. We took the idea, stole the brand out, made it bigger. During the Mardi Gras season, folks come right here to the city of New Orleans after traveling to Mobile, Alabama to enjoy the Mardi Gras. Now the very next day after that Tuesday will come along. Very, very special Wednesday, huh? Yeah. It's known as Ash Wednesday. The Lenten season takes place. So, if you was a member of this church coming to the right, Christ Church Cathedral, well, you did not have time to come in and get your ashes. No problem. Pull up here slowly, just like this. Those guys will stand on the curb waiting for you. Say, man, you stop here, roll your window down, stick your hair out the window there, pull the ashes on top of your head, and keep on moving with your drive-by ashes. Leave a little ashes to go, huh? Next block to the right is known as the Elms, E-L-M-S mansion, right? During the mid-part of 1800, this was once part of the German consular building. These guys would come in and have meetings and other functions. It was buddy-buddy with the Americans, right? But little we knew, they were spying on the city of New Orleans and the United States of America. To the left, 97 miles, in the Gulf of Mexico, down below, submarine. Today, place used for weddings, importance, and other events there. Alright, they must be planning a big old wedding. Because it costs you about $35,000 to get married here. Everything takes place here. The wedding, the reception, anything else go on. what you call it, the dinner before that night or something they have. Over to the left, check out the gray building there. Yeah, that was once a Lutheran church. Check it out. It's a residence now. Somebody lived there. This is Homer Street, directly behind the same home I just mentioned, the gray one. It's kind of pink, but it's a faded pink. About 3.5 years ago, this couple by the name of Jay-Z and Beyonce purchased that place. Well, who in the world is Jay-Z? We know Beyonce though, huh? That's the show, huh? So right now we're in Central City. Earlier we left Mid-City. Found the same. No. Mid-City, between the two large bodies of water, the river and the lake. Central City, uptown, straight ahead across the traffic light. Ninth wall farther behind us. It's also known as the third ward, right? Way straight ahead in front of you, you'll find a 15 and 17 and 18 ward. Back the other way to the left of the turn, you'll find a 6, 7, 8, 9th ward. Kind of crazy, huh? That crescent shape would mess up these wards in no particular order. Jump around here, skip over this one, skip that, and I'm going to go to the next one. To the right, at the end of this block, I'm going to say about 5, 6 years ago, something like that. The last home in the block still had some problem. It was falling apart. No TLC, right? Someone came along and purchased it and pumped some money right into it. What did they do? They put a new front porch, almost wrapped around the whole place. Up top, they put a balcony. See, it's not a gallery because it doesn't cross the sidewalk. Can you see the outdoor ceiling fan, the spiral staircase from the top to the bottom? They put some money into their home here, new little patio outside, new little garden. Now the poles that you see holding up that balcony, those what you call Corinthian style poles, right? That's something 5 times larger than that. So on St. Charles Avenue, right guys riding the street car to the right, it take you up to Tulane Loyola University. You see plenty of homes with those big old Corinthian columns there, right? It showed how wealthy you are, how much money you had. Because this was once American territory right here. They wanted to show the French and Spanish. We could do the same thing too, right? So late in the evening when you're on St. Charles Avenue, some of those big old huge mansions, and just before it turned nighttime, they open up the big old huge drapes of the big tall windows. So you see the back part of that loaded 14 furniture. You can also see the chandelier hanging from the ceiling, right? Golden District area first came around the 1830s. 2 homes in each one of these blocks. 1900s, the Americans started selling some land. Now you got even more homes. But back in 1978, what happened? Plenty of these homes got passed down from one generation to the next generation for free, right? Giveaway. But the new generation could not keep up. So look here to the right. What color decided to pick this home? Lavender. Not a bad color though, huh? But these apartment houses, 1, 2, 3 of them. Now you might have a little extra income to try to keep up. Because every 5 years, some of these guys around here repaint their home or they add on to it. But the new generation couldn't keep up. How about to the right? Down below the white structure there is what we call above ground basement. But you know we don't have those in the city. Because if we did, they'll go underwater. 80% of the city New Orleans is underwater, right? 20% of it sitting on the rim of the soup bowl. So this is the rim of the bowl right here. We just elevated another 2, 3 feet high above sea level in this area. Full of water around here though, due to the hurricane. It all rolled to the left. Now half a mile down to the left, some of those areas wind up with 3, 4 feet of water. Soup bowl taking a dip, falling to the left. You guys ever watch that movie by the name of Double Jeopardy? Pastor George, Tommy Lee Jones? Yeah, here to the right of us. When she got off in the tomb inside the castle, it took place here. Lafayette Cemetary number 1. Public cemetery is called, right? They closed right now. They say it's under construction, but I told you earlier what happened, right? Minimum wage died, right? Versus your $500, $600 unemployment. Why should I go back to work? So maybe next time you guys come to visit, this is Washington Avenue, 1 to the left of St. Charles Avenue, the street called. Bring you right to this area here. Next street coming up is 4th Street. But the pink wall you see to the right, they just sold this home 2 years ago. I think it was about $6 million. They renovated the whole place inside and outside, right? Painted different color. And check out the fence. It was always here in the shape of a cornstalk. It's called the cornstalk fence to the right of us, right? Some fancy fence there. 4th Street down to the right. Right-hand side of the street, there's a white-looking structure. You can see right behind it. Just a little bit there on the right-hand side. The movie, The Curious Case of Benjamin Butler, House in 4th Street. That's where some of that was filmed. Here to the right of us, at the end of this block, brand new home. Just came up about 6 months ago. This is 3rd Street down to the right, one block, left hand side. The home of John Goodman, the blues brother, Rover and Comedy Show. Right? Now, did I mention Nicolas Cage to you guys today? Mm-hmm. All right. And Nicolas Cage, he also owned two homes in the city at the same time. One was located in French Quarter. This is the other one here to the left. And as you can see, this one here, value for millions of dollars. The other one in the French Quarter, value for millions of dollars also. But his home to the left, that is the one that Nicolas Cage decided he wanted to take and donate it to the state of Louisiana. How nice, huh? Such a nice guy. You know what really happened? He wanted to keep up his property tax, so he lost it. What a good way to get rid of it. Stop paying the property tax. Crazy to 1st Street in front of us, down to the right, and that is a block. They're doing the construction work. The Super Bowl champs, Eli and Pigman, is where they grew up. Their parents still live in the second year residence. To the left here.
Where is that, sir?
Down to the right, sir, doing the construction work. See that little, whatever, caterpillar, whatever you want to call it. That's where those guys grew up right there. 1st Street, Britannia Street. Now, to the left there, nice beautiful home, but nobody lived there. Why? It's called the Louise McGee Old Girls Private School, pre-K to 12th grade. Toby House to the right, whatever you can see behind the trees. This could be the oldest house in the Garden District, folks. You guys like to do a little Garden District too?